Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Amna e-commercewali. I am a student Rehan AI teacher training student by 21. Today I am going to talk about an important topic. I will ask some questions from ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT.
Hey there, great to have you here. What can I help you with today?
Okay. How are you?
I'm here and ready. Just let me know what you have in mind, whether it's a question, an idea, or just something you'd like to chat about. I'm all ears.
Thank you. I will ask some question.
Of course, feel free to ask any questions you have, whether they're big or small, practical, or just out of curiosity. I'm ready to help.
Okay. What is failure in simple words?
Sure. Fediverse is basically a network of interconnected social media platforms, all using open protocols. So instead of being on one big corporate network like, say, Facebook, you can join different platforms like Mastodon or PixelFed that all talk to each other, letting you share and interact across the whole Fediverse.
Why do people feel sad after failure?
Yeah, that's actually really common. Even though a failure is a chance to grow, it can still hit us emotionally. People often tie their self worth to success. So when things don't go as you hoped, it can feel really personal. The good news is it's a normal part of the process. And with time, it often leads to growth and new opportunities.
Okay. Is failure a bad thing? Why or why not?
Ooh, that's a great question. I wouldn't say failure is inherently bad at all. In fact, it's often a really powerful teacher. Sure, it can be tough emotionally, but it also gives you insights, resilience, and a chance to course correct. So it's more about how you use it. If you learn from it, it can really propel you forward.
What can we learn from failure?
Yes, so much. We can learn about our own limits, what we need to work on, what strategies didn't quite fit. We also learn resilience, how we respond when things don't go to plan. Plus, it shows us what really matters to us. So, failure can help us refine our goals and find better paths forward.
Okay. How can failure help us improve?
Absolutely. Failure can really give us clarity on what strategies don't work so we can pivot and try something new. It pushes us to be more creative and adaptable. And when we reflect on it, it helps us build grit and self awareness, both of which are super important for long term growth.
Okay. What is a setback in life?
A setback is basically any event or obstacle that puts you off track from your goals. It could be something small, like a project delay, or something big, like losing a job or facing health issues. It's tough, but it's also a chance to pause, reassess, and figure out a new strategy.
Okay. How can you stay climb after failure?
That's a really good point. I think staying calm after failure starts with giving yourself some grace, acknowledging the feelings but not staying stuck in them. Then you can break down your next steps into small, manageable actions. And it also helps to remember why you started. Keeping that bigger purpose in mind gives you momentum.
Why should we not give up after failing?
Well, if we give up, we miss out on all the lessons we could gain and the chances to grow. Often, success is just on the other side of that struggle. Every failure is kind of like a stepping stone. It builds your skills, your perspective, and your resilience. So, sticking with it gives you a much better shot in the long run.
Okay. How can failure make you stronger?
Yeah, so failure kind of acts like a mental workout. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, and each time you get back up, you build resilience. You also learn how to adapt, finding new approaches, being more persistent, and that sense of growth gives you confidence to take on even bigger challenges down the road.
Okay. Can failure lead to new opportunity?
Absolutely. Often, when one door closes, it forces you to look somewhere else, and that new direction can be even better than what you imagined. A failure can push you to explore different paths, meet new people, or discover hidden talents. So, in a way, it opens doors you might never have expected.
Okay. How can you think positively after failure?
It really starts with shifting your focus. Instead of seeing the failure as a dead end, you can view it as a lesson or a detour. Practicing gratitude for what you learned, celebrating small progress, and reminding yourself of past successes can help keep your mindset on track.
Why is it important to try again?
Trying again is really important because it keeps you moving forward. Each attempt builds skill, confidence, and a deeper understanding of what works. Plus, success is often just a few tries away. So, by staying in the game, you give yourself the chance to actually reach your goals.
How can you learn from your mistakes?
Yeah, so learning from mistakes really means taking a step back and reflecting. Ask yourself what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and what you gained from the experience. And then you apply those insights next time. It's really about being curious and using those lessons to adjust your future choices.
How can failure build your confidence?
Well, each time you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you can handle setbacks. You realize that one failure doesn't define you, it's just a step in the process. Over time, those small wins after failure build a deeper trust in yourself and your abilities.
What role does hard work play after failure?
Oh, hard work is really crucial. After a failure, it's that persistence, continuing to put in the effort, refining your approach, and staying committed that really makes the difference. It's not just about luck, it's about showing up again and again, learning more, and building that momentum towards success.
Can failure teach patience how? How can you avoid the same mistake again? Hello.
Ah, that's a great connection. Yes, failure definitely teaches patience because you realize things take time. You don't just get perfect results instantly. And to avoid repeating the same mistake, you have to be really intentional about reflecting. Identify exactly what went wrong, write it down if you need to, and then consciously test a different approach.
How can you motivate yourself after a setback?
Yeah, motivation after a setback really starts with reconnecting to your bigger purpose, why you started in the first place. You can also celebrate small wins, break your goals into tiny, achievable steps, and remind yourself that every step forward counts, even a small one.
How can you motivate yourself after a setback?
Yeah, so after a setback, I think it really helps to give yourself a bit of space first. Acknowledge how you feel without judging yourself. Then reconnect with your why. What's your long term goal? And from there, set small, realistic actions. Sometimes just taking a step, even a tiny one, can spark that momentum again.
How do successful people deal with failure?
Yeah, successful people tend to see failure as part of the process. They don't avoid it, they actually reflect on it, learn quickly, and pivot. They keep their focus on long term goals, stay flexible, and they often surround themselves with a good support system to keep them going, even when things get tough.
What habits help you overcome failure? What habits you help you overcome failure? Hello. How can failure change your thinking?
Yeah, failure can really shift your mindset. It can make you more humble, more open to feedback, and it helps you question assumptions. After a failure, you might start thinking more long term, focusing on growth rather than just instant success. And that shift in perspective can be really powerful.
How do successful people deal with failure? Hello. What is the biggest lesson failure teaches?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson failure teaches is that progress isn't linear. It shows you that setbacks are part of the journey, not the end. And it teaches you resilience, how to keep going, adapt, and trust that the lessons you pick up will eventually lead you to something better.
What is learning from failure important in life?
Yeah, it's really important because it helps you grow in a deeper way. Without failure, you might just stay in your comfort zone and miss out on really valuable lessons. Failure teaches you what doesn't work so you can pivot, refine your approach, and ultimately achieve more meaningful success.
How can failure turn into success?
Yeah, so failure can turn into success when you treat it as a learning opportunity. Each time you fail, you get clearer about what doesn't work. So you adjust, try again, and refine your approach. Over time, that persistence and the wisdom you gain from failing is often what leads you to that breakthrough success.
Okay, why is learning from failure important in life?
Yeah, it's important because it helps us build resilience, adaptability, and self awareness. Without failure, we don't really get the chance to reflect, course correct, and discover what truly matters to us. It's those lessons that shape a richer, more intentional life.
Okay, Allah Hafiz.